We are multiplying fractions today, and so what I have up here is I just have a sample of what basically this looks like, where you have uh, one fraction with a certain numerator and a certain denominator, and you're multiplying it to maybe another fraction with a different numerator denominator. Basically, to combine them, you just work right across. So a times c, b times d, and then you'll cancel out things that are similar. Again, remember, canceling means there has to be top and bottom, okay? Top and bottom, okay? So to cancel, it has to be top and bottom combination. Can't be top, top, or bottom, bottom. It has to be top and bottom, okay? So here we go. Here's what we can do with this here. So for number one, there are two ways you could do this, but let's do this one way here. What I want to do is I want to combine these, and let's combine them exactly how this sample looks like here. So let's combine them going across. So for the top, if I was to combine it going across, I'd have 12y z, and then on the bottom I'd have z to the third. I'm going to line them up, and then 15. Okay, so to cancel stuff out, let's cancel things that we can. So the top has a z and the bottom has z to the third, so these can cancel out, and what will be left is only 2 now instead of 3. There's nothing for the y's to cancel out with. 12 and 15, do they have anything that's in common? They both have a 3, right? That's in common. So what I can cancel out here is I can divide both of them by 3. So this one would have a 4 left over, this one would have a 5 left over. So now all I do is I just rewrite everything that's left over. So on the top, all I have is a 4y. On the bottom, I have a 5, z to the second. And I know this is a good answer because there's nothing else I could cancel out with this final answer here. So 4y over 5z to the second is the final simplification for this. Let's try number 2. So I'm starting out with some basic examples here so we can get the idea. Then, as you can see in number 3, we're going to have to factor again. Okay. Number 2, let's just multiply straight across. 6x y squared. Let's put the 15 first so the numbers can be right underneath each other. Y to the third. Okay. So the y's could cancel out. So on the top I have y squared, on the bottom I have y to the third. So the top, those can completely go away. On the bottom, I'm only going to have one y that's left over, so I'm scratching out that exponent. For 6 and 15, they both have a 3 that can go into them, right? So that would be left with 2. That would be left with 5. So what I have left on the top is 2x. On the bottom, I have 5y. And we know this is a good answer because there's nothing else that the two of them have in common, so that's it. Now let's get into number 3, the good stuff. So for this, like I said, we're going to have to factor if we can. So factor everything you possibly can first, and then we're going to combine at the end, okay? So right here, watch my cursor right here, the a minus 5, there's nothing I could do to it, so I'm just going to leave it as a minus 5. On the bottom here of that fraction, I have a to the third minus 25a. That's a little weird. Remember, if you don't know what to do with it, see if there's a GCF you can pull out. Always, always, always try and see if you can pull out a GCF first. So they do have a GCF in common. It's 5, or I mean it's a, I'm sorry. So if you pull out an a, that's what's left. Look in the parenthesis, you can factor that further, right? Difference of 2 squares. A minus 5, a plus 5. So that's what you would have total. Let's scoop this guy down here. That's what you have on the bottom after you've completely factored that bottom one. So top, a minus 5 stays. Bottom, I have an a minus 5, and then a plus 5. Okay. Now I still have to take care of this guy, so probably box trick might work. So I have 1 and 1, 25, maybe 5 and 5. Back sign is a plus, so I know that the parentheses are going to both be the same. What sign is it? It's going to be a plus because the first sign is a plus too. So back sign is plus means the signs will be the same. In the parenthesis, to figure out which sign it is, you go to the first sign. So plus and plus. My a squared is in the front, so I know that my a's are going to be here. Okay, so let's see. We're adding this time because the back sign's a plus also. We're adding to get the middle number. 1, 1 times 5 is 5 also, so if I add these two together, I get 10, which is the middle number, so these are for sure the factors. So 1, you remember you write them going across, so 1 is going to be a plus 5, the other one's going to also be a plus 5, okay? So right across from here, I know that that is also going to be. So this line that I've written here in red is all of the stuff that we had here in number 3 factored, okay? Let's repeat the steps we did with 1 and 2 where we just multiply everything across. So remember, when something is not a fraction, to make it a fraction, you just put it over 1, okay? So on the top, I'm going to have that a minus 5 that was there, and then I'm going to multiply it to those two a plus 5s that are there from after we factored. Then on the bottom, I have an a, I have an a minus 5, and then I have an a plus 5. This 1's not necessary, remember, because we're just multiplying it to whatever's on the bottom, so the 1's just there as a placeholder. Now we can do the good stuff. So remember, we want to cancel stuff out. They have to be a top and bottom combination. So even though I have an a plus 5 right here where my cursor is, and an a plus 5 there, those guys can't cancel out because they're top and top, okay? But this a plus 5 can definitely cancel out with this guy here on the bottom. I have an a minus 5 there and an a minus 5 there. So what do I have left? b plus 5 over a. And that's it. So remember, those a's can't cancel out because since this top one has a plus 5, it has something that's joined onto it. So if that plus 5 wasn't there and it was just a over a, we could definitely cancel it out. But once you have something being added or subtracted to it, it's not eligible to be canceled out anymore, okay? So a plus 5 over a is as simple as it could get. Alright, let's try a few more examples. Let me scoot this over. Here's another one that will require us to factor again a lot. So let's start with this first fraction on the top. Box trick again maybe, so 1 and 1. Let's see, maybe 12, 4, and 3. Remember, we're subtracting to get the middle number, so 1 times 3 is 3. 1 times 4 is 4. If I subtract 4 and 3, I do get 1. So those are right. Now, the bigger product gets the first sign, so the bigger product's going to get minus, okay? So is 1 times 4 bigger or 1 times 3? 1 times 4 is bigger, so follow the arrow. 1 times 4, 1 times 4. It gets stuck with a minus right there. And so if that's a minus, this one has to be a plus. Remember, we write them going across. My x squared's on the left side, so that means my x's are going to be on the left side for the final answer. So I end up with x minus 4, x plus 3 on the top of that guy. Okay. This one on the bottom, let's see, it's kind of weird. Looks like I could pull out a GCF though, right? I could pull out an x. And if I do that, I'm left with x times x minus 5. So it looks like that. Second fraction, well, the bottom is easy, nothing to factor, right? Nothing I can do with that. Top, two things, minus sign in between. You take the square of both of them. I'm going to say it's a difference of two squares. So I could do x plus 5, x minus 5. Okay. And so here we go. Let's just combine everything on the top into one fraction. So I have an x minus 4 times an x plus 3 times an x plus 5 times an x minus 5. Okay, and then on the bottom of that, what do I have? I have an x, I have an x minus 5, then I have an x plus 3. Let's cancel out all the stuff we can. So x plus 3, x plus 3, x minus 5, x minus 5. So all I'm going to have left here is an x minus 4 times x plus 5 over x. So no need to FOIL or distribute or any of that business. That's good. Just leave it the way it looks like right there. Okay. So let's try our last two problems here. And so they look pretty simple, like number 1 and 2. I just want to show you how to work these out when you have a little exponent on the side there. And so In number 5, if you look at number 5 here, I have a little 3 here on the outside of this parenthesis. What I want you to remember is this 3 gets distributed to the 4, to the y, and to the z. So it gets distributed to every single thing. And usually what people forget is they forget to distribute it to the 4 usually. So please don't forget, you have to distribute it to the number, okay? So what I really have in this first fraction is I have 4 to the third, y to the third, over z to the third, okay? Times 3z over 8y. If I simplify this, 4 to the third is 4 times 4 times 4. So 4 times 4 times 4. This gives me 16 times 4. It's going to give me 64, believe it or not. Okay. So I have 64y to the third, z to the third, times 3z over 8y. Let's combine everything. So if we combine everything that we have so far, we have 64 times 3. So what would that be? We would have 2, carry the 1, 18, so 192. Y to the third z, and I have my 8y. I'm going to line them all up, z to the third. Okay, let's go ahead and let's simplify everything that we can here. So I have a y to the third and a y, so this can cancel out that y on the bottom, and then this y turns into y squared. This z cancels out, so that one turns into z squared. And then the 192 divided by 8, what is that going to give us? 192 actually goes into 824 times, if you believe it or not. So let's double check that. I think so, though. So this is 2, 16, 3, 2, yep. Goes in 24 times, okay? So what I'm left with here on the top is 24 y squared over z squared. That's it, okay? Because 8 goes into 192 completely. So final answer for this, 24 y squared z squared. Let's try the last one here, okay? So I wanted to do this one because it's a negative here, and so remember this squared goes here, and it goes here. But what do you know when you square something and you have a negative? So basically this is saying negative cy, okay, times 4 over 3c. Because remember, this squared means that we're multiplying this thing twice. So what happens to the signs here? They turn positive, right? So this becomes, on the top, c squared, y squared, times 4 over 3c. Let's combine them together. I have a 4, c squared, 3, what do we have, c, y squared. Let's cancel what we can out. So 4 and 3, unfortunately, nothing they have in common. I have a c here, so I can cancel out this squared there. And there's no y's, so I'm left with 4c over 3y squared. Final answer, okay? So practice your factoring. That will help you guys get these answers better here, okay? So if you have any questions, go ahead and let me know. But I hope that this will be straightforward for you when you take the quiz, okay?